morning, everybody. I'm Mary Catherine. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to give you an update this morning on the sock situation. I think that doing that little video last week really inspired me to keep working on my socks. And I've now gotten down to the point where I can begin the toe shaping. And I thought I would show you how that works and how I knew that it was time to do that. Here is a little picture of the wrapper that was on the socks that I made, where I use this yarn. I'm not really wild about this stripy yarn, especially this one. I'm not an orange and green person much, but it's good yarn, and I've really enjoyed the pattern. It's not totally simple, but it's easy enough for me. And you can see it's a magic stripe pattern. That's just the coloration pattern of the yarn. But I wanted to show you the toe shaping. When you get down to 2 inches left until the end of the toe, then it's time to start shaping the toe. Now, how do I know when I'm 2 inches from there? Well, I just put the sock on my foot, as I'll show you here, and I take a little ruler and I measure it and see if it's the right length. And I think especially in circular needles, that's easier to do. So then we'll look at the pattern. I've discovered, of course, looking, that it's important to have those stitch markers in there. Yeah, the yellow stitch marker is the first stitch marker, and the blue one is the second stitch marker. And those are the ones that I need in order to know how to do this decreasing for the toe shaping. The red is the center of the heel. And then if I turn it over, I try to get these two on either side. You see that they are where it's kind of twisted around because I don't have it centered on these needles, but they're in the right spot for to line up with the old decrease here and also with the toe shaping as I go to the end. I'm doing a little painting this morning, and I really wanted to replicate this magnolia blossom that I painted a number of years ago. And so I've been through some of the different iterations. You have to paint and dry and paint and dry and let all the different layers dry. So I'll show you some of that. And then this is, I think, the final of that. I don't think I'm going to do anything else to it. Relatively pleased with it. I've changed the coloration some. At the different points in that painting, while I was letting it dry, I started on a couple of others. A dragonfly, which had several different stages of drying, and a pair of cats looking out a window. And so here they are. So that's the painting this morning. I've got Bobo sitting on my lap. He had a grooming yesterday, and his hair is very short, and I think he's a little chilly. And so now I think I'm going to do a little bit of sewing and start digging into my scrap strips again. I'm going to be working with long strips instead of little teeny pieces. I think I'm tired of the teeny pieces for a while. Now for my next sewing escapade, I'm going to do all blue fabrics. So I'm going to hunt through these strips and find all the blue ones. I'm going to do one more little project pouch because I sold one. I like to have 3 at the market. And then I'll also be doing just some strips sewn together for my next quilt. Now I have a lot more scraps than just the 3 tubs I was looking through, but this is plenty to get me started off with. Now I'm going to select the ones I want for the craft pouch first, and I'll be choosing ones that are a little thinner. I don't want really wide ones on that. This is, I think, the only piece of that I've found. I like that. You'll notice that there's plenty of other colors drifting through these scraps, like oranges and yellows, and those will help keep it from looking too blue. Well, I've made a nice little start in the last few minutes. Now, this is my machine. This is a Singer Fashion Mate Model 237. It was at the Sewing Machine Hospital with Dr. Adam for a couple of weeks while we waited for a new part for it. It's the little pigtail thread guide right here. It broke, if you recall, and we had to order a new one. It took a little while. Now it's doing fine, although just a minute ago, this little tightening screw came loose and the needle fell out. And I will say that it several times has lost the thread off of this little hook here, which is very important. I think stuff is too loose. I think that maybe the tension's too loose. I don't know. I'll get Dr. Adam to look at it again. But she's back in her usual spot, and I'm glad to have her back. and we're going to continue with this little project pouch. I like the blues together. I love this fabric. I know it's not as blue as some of the others, but oh my goodness, isn't it cute? It looks very French farmhouse. Well, I think I made it wider than it needs to be. Boy, I hope I include this when I cut it. It is 15 inches tall on this stripe here. So I'll measure it and see how we go. But it'll be a nice big project pouch or craft pouch, wrap up craft pouch.